This makes me feel lighter.
Dad certainly said that, even though it was during the funeral of Mom, who committed suicide after being betrayed by Dad. The cold reality is that Mom left us without ever revealing the truth. "Where's Mom?" Brian, who was 5 at the time, asked, gripping my hand tightly. The portrait of Mom shows her smiling warmly, but I know how much she suffered because of Dad. I'll never forgive him. To let go of Mom's regrets, I, at 10 years old, clenched my teeth and took a stand. Fast forward 10 years. I've slowly cornered them into a living hell. I'm Mia, a 20-year-old nurse. I live with my grandparents and 15-year-old Brian. We're a family of 4. When I was 10, Mom passed away, and Dad quickly remarried, abandoning us. The remarriage happened so fast. It was as if it had been planned while Mom was still alive. Thankfully, my maternal grandparents took Brian and me in, showering us with love and care. Even as a child, I felt grateful and guilty seeing my elderly grandparents work hard for their adorable grandchildren, and I wanted to start working to ease their burden. Maybe that's why people always said I acted mature for my age. I have a painful past, and I can't forget, and nightmares that still haunt me. Back when I was 10, my parents fought almost every night, filling me with anxiety about what would happen to our family. One day, I woke up to the sound of their arguing. Peeking through a slightly open door, I saw Mom tearfully pleading with Dad. "Going to see her again, aren't you? You have 2 kids, you know. Please, think about the children."
Enough! I'm tired of your ugly face.
"That's cruel."
I don't even want the kids. I'm leaving you for Nancy.
"Just get out." Mom, despite the harsh words, glared at Dad and retorted, "If that's how you feel, fine. But you'll pay alimony and child support. And I'll take this house as part of the property division."
What?
Hearing this, Dad raised his arm to hit Mom, and I couldn't help but scream, "Stop!" Dad looked at me, surprised. His eyes were wide open, bloodshot and terrifying. Gathering my courage, I stood in front of Mom, arms spread to protect her. "I hate you, Dad." With a click of his tongue, Dad slammed the front door shut and left. Brian, startled by the yelling, had woken up and was crying. Mom hugged Brian and me, breaking down in tears, but whispering in my ear, "As long as I have you two, that's all I need. I'll keep fighting, even if we divorce." But 3 days later, Mom was gone. She committed suicide by jumping from her 5th-floor condo in the middle of the night. I woke up to the sound of the loud sirens of ambulances and police cars, and my mom, who was supposed to be sleeping next to me, was gone. So I had a bad feeling. Mom's handwritten note on the table said, "I can't leave." That's why it was determined that she committed suicide. On the day of the funeral, I stroked Mom's beautifully made-up cheek as she lay in the coffin. But there was no way she would wake up, and I couldn't stop the tears from rolling down her cheek. "Mia, why won't Mom wake up?" I took little Brian's hand and left him in the care of our grandparent, who was crying loudly. As I walked over to sit next to Dad, I heard an incredulous murmur.
"This makes me feel lighter."
Dad did indeed say that, even though it was during the funeral of Mom, who committed suicide after being betrayed by Dad. Why would he say something like that at a time like this? The photo of Mom on the memorial table shows her warm smile, but the person who pushed her to the edge was dead. I couldn't believe that Mom, who was supposed to be strong for Brian and me, left us by taking her own life. Maybe it was my fault for saying I hated Dad. Maybe I should have helped Mom more. Even though I was young and struggling, Dad had this smug grin on his face. Something's not right. There must be some hidden truth to all of this. That's what I felt, even at the age of 10. 2 months after Mom passed away, Dad introduced us to a young woman.
Meet your new mom. Her name is Nancy. Be nice.
The woman stared at Brian and me with cold eyes. Mom just passed away and now this? Was this the plan all along? I remember Mom saying during a fight with Dad, "You're going to see her, aren't you?" This woman must be that Nancy. I looked at Nancy, bewildered. Living with her is going to be a nightmare. Even those thoughts, I put on my best fake smile and greeted her innocently. "I'm glad to have a kind-looking Nancy as our new mom."
But you won't be living with us. You two are going to Grandpa's house.
At that moment, Dad chose his affair partner Nancy and easily abandoned Brian and me. Still, I pretended to feel nothing and responded to Dad. "Is it because Grandpa and Granny look so sad? I understand, but I'll miss not seeing you, Dad." When I said something I didn't mean, both Dad and Nancy smirked. "Enjoy your laughter while you can." With that silent scream in my heart, I kept my mouth shut. Mom must have committed suicide because of Nancy's appearance. I won't let this go, Mom. Watch me. At 10 years old, I decided to take action to help my mom find peace. But back then, I was just a kid in elementary school. I racked my brain, wondering what a child could do. What I should do. First off, while packing to move to my grandparents' house, I also searched through Mom's belongings and Dad's study. I had a feeling that Mom's stuff might get thrown out now that there was a new woman in Dad's life. I found something astonishing, but I didn't know what to do with it at that time, so I quietly tucked it into my bag. And so, we started living with our grandparents. Raising two growing kids must have been tough for them at their age. Grandpa took a job as a security guard, and Granny started working part-time at a supermarket checkout. I did my best to help with chores and take care of my brother Brian, but I was limited in what I could do because of school. Seeing my grandparents struggle financially, I remembered Mom saying she would get alimony and child support from Dad when they're fighting before she passed away. If we had that money, it would make life a bit easier for my grandparents. "Hey, Granny, is he paying child support?"
What? Kids shouldn't worry about such things.
Granny tried to be vague, not wanting to burden me. But when I pressed her, I found out Dad hadn't given us anything. The grandparents thought they had caused Dad trouble by Mom's suicide, so they didn't charge him anything. Even so, dumping his kids and pretending not to know is just awful. That's unforgivable. I broke open my piggy bank, gathered the coins, and took Brian's hand to board a bus to Dad's office. Once we arrived, we sat down in front of the entrance and started crying. Brian was genuinely scared and crying, but I was faking it. People who looked like Dad's co-workers gathered around and asked, "What's wrong?" "We came to see Dad. We don't have money, so we don't even have food." The crowd looked shocked, but the most shocked was Dad.
Why are you two here?
After scrutinizing us, he heard from his co-workers what I had said and started sweating profusely.
Fine. I'll give you money now. Go home.
"Hey, Dad, what's child support? Is it just $10? Dad, who tried to send us away with just a $10 bill, was met with cold stares from the crowd.
No, it's $500. I just forgot to pay Grandpa.
"So it's $500 for both of us? That's too little." Whispers like raising two kids and $500 these days started circulating.
It's $1,000 for both of you. I'll send it now. Go home.
"Thanks, Dad. If you forget the child support again, we'll come to your office." From then on, Grandpa received child support every month. Dad, however, became the subject of cold stares at work for abandoning his kids and remarrying a younger woman, and eventually quit his job. He found another job, but it paid less than the previous one. Every time he fell behind on child support, I'd show up at his office, forcing him to change jobs multiple times, each time with a lower salary. The bad rumors about Dad didn't stop at the office. I also took Brian to the homes of Dad's friends and relatives and pretended to cry, saying, "We miss Dad. He never visits." Thus, their reputations worsened, and both Dad and his new wife Nancy became socially isolated. But I wasn't done. I frequently took Brian to visit Dad and Nancy's house for a specific reason.
What are you two doing here?
"We miss Dad." Brian hugged Dad, who looked genuinely happy, and let us in. Nancy glared at us, but I pretended not to notice and kept smiling. As soon as I entered the living room, I looked around and acted excited. "Mom used to always be here when we were kids. We were all so close." "Ah, the cup Nancy is holding. That was Mom's favorite." Nancy put the cup down with a disgusted look and never used it again. We started bringing gifts for Father's Day, birthdays, and Valentine's Day. As we visited Dad regularly, the tension between him and Nancy escalated, and we could sometimes hear them arguing. That was my goal. Once Nancy shoved me so hard, I scraped my knee. I exaggeratedly cried out, "Dad, help!" which led to another big fight. Time passed, and I turned 18 and graduated high school. I had received the child support Mom mentioned, but the $20,000 in alimony from the divorce was still pending. So I decided to make sure Dad kept his promise to Mom by getting that money in another way. "Thanks to Dad, I graduated high school. Here's a thank you gift."
Congrats on graduating. What's this?
It's a picture frame with a photo of Dad and me smiling. The photo was taken by Brian just the other day.
I'm touched. I'll put it right here.
With that, Dad placed the photo frame next to the living room TV. "Actually, Dad, I have a favor to ask." I told him that I wanted to go to nursing school after high school and needed $20,000 for it. "I want to become a nurse. I think it would be helpful when it's time to take care of our family." I was thinking of our grandparents, but Dad seemed to assume I'd be taking care of him in his old age. He transferred $20,000 from his savings to my bank card, and I was able to cover my tuition and become a nurse 2 years later. I later found out that divorce settlements and tuition are treated differently, but at the time, I was just happy Dad paid. Now, I'm 20 years old, and it's been 10 years since Mom passed away. Brian and I visited Mom's grave and paid our respects. "Mom, it's been a long wait, but the day to let go of your regrets has finally come. Watch over us." Brian, standing next to me, nodded in agreement. He's grown so much, even surpassing my height. He's become strong and athletic. Actually, I've confided everything to Brian, and he's agreed to help me with what I'm about to do. We arrive at Dad's house, where we've spent many years. Dad greeted us warmly, but we were emotionless. Dad chatted away even though we hadn't asked him anything.
Actually, I divorced Nancy after all the fights. But I have you guys. Let's live together in this house again.
Did Dad really think we'd be happy about this? But I knew about Dad's divorce because I orchestrated it. I've been waiting for this moment. Who are you?
Mia, what are you talking about?
You took away our precious Mom's life. I've never considered you my dad. For the past 10 years, I've been patient, just to let go of Mom's regrets. Dad never expected his attitude from me. His face turned pale, and his lips trembled.
Your mom committed suicide. Are you trying to say it's my fault? I think there was also a suicide note that said I can't leave.
Huh, this is part of that letter? I pulled out a letter that I had found in Dad's study when I was a kid and had kept tucked away ever since. This was a letter Mom wrote to Dad during a time they were fighting over an affair. "I get that your feelings have shifted to Nancy. If you agree to pay the $20,000 settlement and $1,000 monthly child support in the divorce, then let's divorce. Please, let me and Brian live with me if I don't have those kids. This letter is torn off here and missing. The next part probably said I can't go on living, didn't it?
When did you? I couldn't find it no matter how much I looked after it went missing. Did Mia hide it?
There's no way Mom would leave us and commit suicide. I've always thought that. At that time, I was convinced when I saw this. It was your doing after all. When I presented him the evidence, Dad, who was at a loss for words, suddenly burst out into a disgusting smile.
Even if the will was a fake? Isn't it true that Mom committed suicide?
Still trying to deceive us? I know what you did, Dad.
What? That I killed Mom? There's no evidence anywhere, right?
That's what proved it. I pointed to a picture frame next to the TV. It had a hidden camera that sent data to my mobile phone. I took out my phone and played a video. It showed Dad and Nancy in a heated argument before they broke up. In their conversation, they exposed everything.
I pushed my wife off the condo to be with you.
And I even helped by grabbing her leg. Nancy also furiously accused Dad. You liar! You said we wouldn't have to pay any settlement or child support if she was gone.
Mia, what are you doing? Hand it over.
Dad, his face red and eyes narrowed, looked demonic as he approached me.
Stop! Get your filthy hands off Mia!
Brian, now strong and sturdy, twisted Dad's arm.
Oh, let go, it hurts. I'll do anything, just forgive me.
Dad knelt down, crying and begging for forgiveness, but there was no way we couldn't forgive him. If you'll do anything, then bring our kind Mom back.
Kind? My foot! She just nagged me for having a little affair.
You're still saying that? Then let's settle this with the police. Hearing the word police, Dad's face changed.
Wait, please, not the police. I'm sorry, I really am.
After that, Dad and Nancy were arrested for taking Mom's life. During police questioning, they blamed each other, and all the facts came to light. The two, showing no signs of remorse, will likely spend a long time in prison. Even if they get out, they've been fired from their jobs and disowned by their families. No one will associate with them. I'm working hard as a nurse, living peaceful and fulfilling days. Brian is studying hard, saying he wants to become a detective who protects the weak from the wicked. Since I'm also working, we've asked our grandparents to take it easy, and we plan to live happily as a family of 4 from now on.